Everybody, welcome to our second set of lightning talks at Solution Street. We're going to dive right in, and I want to first go over some of the ground rules. Look, should be familiar to most people who were here last time. The presenter has roughly 5 minutes to present their topic, their demo, etc. We have 4 presenters today, so I anticipate us easily being done by 12:30. We're not going to have questions or comments during the presentation, but there will be a thread in the Lightning Talk Google chat space, which I will create as the presenter starts their presentation. And you can post questions or comments or compliments in that thread. Please do it in the corresponding thread to the topic that's being discussed or the topic you're interested in. And then the presenter can address those comments after the conclusion of their presentation. And as you know, we're all going to be recording this session. So what do we have today for you? We have Raul with JSON.parse Reviver. We have video editing on the Mac with iMovie from Larry. We have Caravaggio, Navigating the Rails Schema by Joe. And we have WebDriver.io by Greg. So I am going to stop sharing and allow Raul to begin.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I was muted. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen.
We can.
Awesome. So thank you, Jeff, and hello, my name is Raul Ortiz, and this is the parse of the string dates. Can you spot all the zombie films, books, and game references? They will be scattered around the presentation. So let me know by email, not the chat, for an opportunity to win one of 2 Starbucks gift cards. I'm looking for amount and specificity. We'll be announcing the winners by the end of the day. So before I continue, no, this is not a talk about zombies. We're gonna talk about JSON.parse Revivers. So if you're a web developer, or if you have worked with APIs in Node.js or Dino, or if you've done anything related to JavaScript, you've dealt with JSON parsing. JSON is awesome. We use it in config files, data files, API payloads, responses, you name it. It works great. Until you realize that once that JSON is parsed, things are not how they used to be. So you have numbers, Booleans, strings, arrays, and objects. They all come back as expected, but string dates, really? I know. It's an artifact of how the serialization process is, but well, that's where revivers are useful. So what's a reviver? The reviver is an optional second parameter of the JSON parse function. When specified, each parse value will be sent to the reviver where it can be transformed before being returned. So let's look at some examples to get a better grasp of how this works. First, I'm going to illustrate the order in which properties are processed by the reviver. First thing I want you to notice is that the reviver function accepts 2 parameters, a key and a value. In this example, the function is straightforward. It has no transformations, only a console log and a pass-through return. As we execute the code, we can see the order in which the log statement were executed. And we can see keys like author, books, array indexes, and even though indexes are numeric in nature, within the reviver context, they are strings. Now, I want you to focus on this last entry. The last reviver cycle will always be the whole parse value with an empty string key. So let's see what happens when the reviver function doesn't return some values. As you can see, the function here will return all values except those named rules. So let's execute. And the resulting object doesn't contain rules now. It only contains nickname. This is very important because values that are not returned are implicitly interpreted as undefined. Hence, they are removed from the resulting object. The same happens if we explicitly return an undefined value. If you don't want the reviver to accidentally mess with the object's integrity, return values, even if they are not transformed. So let's do an actual transformation now. The reviver function here checks the value, if the value contains the word snowball and replaces it with Twinkie. It has a fallback pass-through return that's gonna take care of any values that are not matched by the snowball condition. So once we execute the code, we can see our newly parsed object. All instances of snowball have been replaced with Twinkie. So with those basic out of the way, let's see what we can do about those string dates. It always helps when there's a standard for incoming date strings. In our example, we are 100% sure that all dates are in ISO formats with no hours, minutes, and seconds, and they are also in UTC. Having said that, you always have the power to make the date detection and transformation logic as simple or as complex as you need. As we execute our code, lo and behold, here's our parse data, and look, no more string dates. Here you can see the difference between UTC and my time zone. Same date, just a different representation. So at this point, you may say, well, that's all neat, but I already have a framework that does all the JSON parsing for me automatically, to which I'll reply, so is default parsing good enough for you? What if I tell you that almost every framework out there supports revivers? Libraries like Express, Axios, Fetch, Got, Super Agent, KY, and even the Angular's HTTP client will allow you to easily set up revivers. I only research for popular ones, but I am pretty sure that others do as well. Now brace yourselves, because the reviver setup examples for these libraries are so simple that these next few slides are going to fly. So first, we have Express. As you can see, it's just a quick and simple middleware configuration. Next, we have Axios, which is almost the same, different way of doing it. We set the defaults. And while Express and Axios let us set up revivers on a global level, the next libraries do it on a per request basis, like Fetch. We have Got here, Super Agent, and finally, KY. If you want to learn about Angular's implementation, or if you need more details about any of the frameworks mentioned here, let me know in the chat. I'm more than welcome to point you in the right direction. Lastly, bringing dates back to life is just the tip of the iceberg for revivers. Well, with a little creativity, you can also bring back to life class instances. Well, this is all the time I have for you today. I really hope you learned something new, and don't forget to send me what you found by email. Take care and goodbye.
Awesome. Thank you, Raul. Appreciate it. Okay, next up, we have Larry.
Okay, you guys can see my screen. Okay,
Yes,
I'll start.
you're good.
You do? Okay, I'll start. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Larry, and for my lightning talk, I'm gonna show you quick tutorial how to edit a video on iMovie. So first, of course, we need to open the iMovie application, which is I already have it open here. And then we need to click Create New, and then click Movie to start our project. Now, of course, to start working on the video, we need to have some videos to work on. So to do that, we need to import some media or files. So we can click this down arrow here or the down arrow up there. And then we can locate what files do we want to import. So you can also select a folder, and all the files on that folder will be imported. And then click Import Select. And then for that folder, I have 3 videos and 1 audio file. Now, to start working on editing a video, I will select this one video here, and then I'm gonna drag it to the timeline down there. Now, there are a few ways to trim a video, or a few different ways to trim a video. The one easy one, or one that I usually use is to split it or cut the video. So to do that, you just move your cursor where do you want to cut the video, and then right click, do split clip, or the shortcut key is the Control B. And then you see the one video becomes 2 video now. Now we don't need this one video up here. We can select that and click delete. And then let's say I want this video just up to here. So I click that again, and then Control B, and then it becomes that up there. The thing that we can do is we can add title and click the title tabs. There's a bunch of different titles that you can choose from. Let's say we choose this title. We can drag it to the top of the video. And then when you play the video, you can see it on top of the video that you're working on. Or you can also drag it beside the video, and it's going to be treated as a separate video. So if you do that, it'll just do like this. Another thing that we can do is some effects, which is the transition tab. So there's a lot of different options you can choose from available in iMovie. So for example, we choose this fade to white. To use this one, you need to drag it, put it between of those clips. So let's say we play this and you see the white trend. The thing that we can add on a video is the music, and it's very important to add music. There's an option here where we can select the audio and video, which has the video that's available in iMovie or on your computer. There's a sound effect here. Or if you imported an audio, which is we did, the background one, this one, we can also drag it to our timeline. So drag it down there at the bottom of the video. And then we can edit the audio the same way we're editing the video. So we can trim it and we can do some other things on it. The special thing or another thing you can do on the audio is you can adjust the volume, which is you move your cursor on the line here. And then you see this up and down arrow thing. And you can pull it down or drag down to lower the volume or pull it up to increase the volume. If you notice in some of the video, you also have audio, it works the same way, but this one is attached to the video. So you can also, decrease the volume or increase it up like that. And then we can also, let's say this audio is attached to this video. So we can right click and detach the audio. Let's say we don't need this audio anymore because I want it to behold the background one. So we can right click, detach, and then we can, just delete that right away. And then once we're all done, everything looks good. What we can do to save the video that we worked on is to click this export up here. And then we can export to all different, like email or YouTube, or the usual one that I do is export to file, where it save it on your computer. So that's my quick tutorial for the iMovie. I actually make a small video clip that I use this images that I have sample here. I'm gonna share it in my thread for you to see. So I hope you enjoy that. I think I'm left 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Thank you, Larry.
But
Great
that's
job.
for me.
Enjoyed it. Okay.
I keep on cutting it and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Larry. All right.
Thank
Next
you.
up, we have Joe.
Me unmute and share my screen. Okay. So can you see a page that says welcome to Caravaggio?
We can.
Okay. I am working has a Rails app, and if you know anything about Rails apps, you know that the architecture is strongly based on the database schema, and been around for several years. And as you've been around, if you've been on any software development program that's been around for many years, you know that the schema tends to grow and expand in all sorts of ugly, complicated ways. And they have a pretty giant schema. So as a Hackday project over there, I developed this tool, which is called Caravaggio, named after the one of my favorite artists. Caravaggio basically is designed as a schema inspector. Now, I'm not showing you the schema here because I didn't really feel comfortable sharing their schema on this, but this is another project of my own. So anyway, basically, this is a way of visualizing the schema. It is a Rails gem that you can plug into any Rails application, and it uses the Rails meta information to find the Rails models, which are all based on database tables, and find the relationships between them. And for this fairly simple application of mine, this is what the database schema looks like. And as you can see, that's pretty complicated. So maybe we want to take a look at just a little schedule piece. So this is showing each of these dots represents a table in the database and therefore a model in the MVC framework of it. Each of the lines between them is a relationship, which ends up keying off of the schema, but ends up being interpreted into Rails as a relationship. So the greens has many. So a schedule has many characters, a schedule has many shooting scenes, a schedule belongs to one production, and so on. We can look at the links to things as well as, or the links from things by clicking over here. If I want to take a look at, say, only the items that I checked, I can look at only those and restrict those. And meanwhile, over here in the right column, we actually see the specific details of the layout of all of the parts of the most recently selected item. And I could click them in here, or I can click them, or I can do them in the left rail. So as I said, this is up there in Ruby gems, so you can add this gem to your application if you want. I probably need to add a little more documentation about how exactly to integrate it, but once you have it in there, you can easily set it up so that you can view the database schema of your Rails application, and that is Caravaggio.
Very cool. Thank you, Joe. All right. Our last presenter is Greg.
All right. Hi, all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, let me share my screen. This is a tough act to follow, guys. It's great presentations. All right. All right, so today I'm going to talk about WebDriver IO, a quick 5-minute introduction. So how I got here, I'm currently working with a client and I'm developing a really small Electron JavaScript-based application that's going to automate some manual processes for this client. And one of those processes is actually automating form filling on various payment websites that they have. There's no API to these websites, so the best we can do to kind of automate that process is to help them fill out the forms and automate that. So started to look at various options. Of course, test automation frameworks came right to mind. The top one I considered was, of course, Selenium. You guys probably all know about Selenium. It's sort of the old grandpa or big daddy, I guess, of the test automation frameworks. Kind of ruled that one out because although it would work, it has a lot of baggage. It's a little bit hard to install. There's a couple of components you have to deal with, and I wanted to keep this really lightweight. So then I looked at Cypress, very, very well known for an alternative framework to Selenium. It's also JavaScript based, which was great. It is a great tool, but it was, again, a little bit more baggage and a little bit more that I wanted to deal with for integrating in this application. So during the search of that, it led me to find another tool called WebDriver IO, or abbreviated WDIO. And what is WebDriver IO? So as mentioned, it is a test automation framework, another alternative. It is written in JavaScript, or completely written in JavaScript, and runs on Node.js. Its main purpose, the core purpose, again, is to automate browser and mobile UI, and then layering on top of that a test runner and framework. It implements the W3C WebDriver protocol, which you've probably heard of. It also implements a couple of other protocols, such as mobile JSON wire protocol for testing mobile apps, and Chrome DevTools, which we'll talk about in a minute. It touts itself as being compatible, extensible, and a feature-rich framework. So you might be thinking, wait a minute, another test automation framework? So why did I pick this one? So again, it's a very lightweight tool to install. You just do an npm init WDIO, and it goes through a CLI to install it into your existing application. So it was really easy for me to get started with, and it really wasn't in my way. Very lightweight. The big thing for me for this application is it didn't require me to install Chrome driver in order to automate a browser such as Chrome in this case. So it can actually just use running my Node.js app, or in this case, my Electron app. It could use my existing Chrome that was installed, did not have to install Chrome driver, did not have to deal with upgrading Chrome driver, which is a typical issue you have. So that's doing that using the Chrome DevTools protocol, which was new to me, but realized this is actually integrated into Chrome. And actually a lot of other browsers are starting to implement this specification, which allows you to directly automate the browser. But WDIO can also automate or use Chrome driver and the WebDriver protocol as well. So it does that transparently, which is really cool. Some other WDIO features that you should know about is it's easy, and it has a modern syntax. So it supports the async await syntax very natively. It has the typical comprehensive and what they call smart selector strategies. So you can select by CSS, various other strategies. What's really cool is it supports the modern web frameworks natively. So React, Angular, Vue, etc. So for example, you can select React components by its component name instead of using things on the DOM directly. So it's natively integrated with that. As mentioned earlier, it provides a nice CLI to automate the installation and configuration, and has a built-in test runner. It also supports Mocha, Jasmine, and Cucumber in terms of test frameworks, as you would expect. It has many integrations out of the box. So it'll work with Browser Stack, Sauce Labs, Slack, and Teams, and it's got a whole exhaustive list of integrations for tools and web services. And as mentioned earlier, it is based on web standards and is true open source. So WebDriver, Chrome DevTools, some of the protocols that it implements, and it's supported by the OpenJS Foundation. So they tout themselves as not being controlled by a commercial company. It's true open source. I know I'm over time, but just here's a quick snippet of code to automate a web browser to go to DuckDuckGo and do a search and find that input. So some additional resources if you're interested in looking at WebDriver IO, the website. Also interesting to look at the W3C WebDriver protocol and the Chrome DevTools protocol I mentioned before. All right, that's it.
Thanks, Greg. A couple of quick notes at the end here. So again, you can go to each of the threads I created in the Lightning Talk space to comment or questions, add questions about any of the topics we saw today. For presenters, if you have a presentation as a part of what you did and you're comfortable sharing it, that might be a good place to put a link to your presentation or any other links you want to share about your topic. I'm glad that Joe brought up, in the future, people that are presenting in the future, do keep in mind, we want to keep our clients' code, our clients' data, our clients' schema, things like that, confidential to our clients. So this is not a good place to show off client code, etc. You'll want to put something up kind of like what Joe did as example. So thank you, Joe, for refreshing my memory and to reminding people. If you're interested in participating, I have the Lightning Talks document where you can sign up. I will reshare that. We're always looking for people to present. As you can see, it's quick, it's easy, it's fun. So I encourage people to take a look at that document. The next one will be about 6 weeks hence. So we're looking at mid-June or so for the next Lightning Talk sessions. I look forward to it. These were great. Hope everybody enjoyed. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.